Grimm's Fairy Tales. The 12 Huntsmen. There was once a king's son who had a sweetheart and loved her much. Now, as he was sitting contentedly with her, news came to him that his father was sick and likely to die, and he had a great desire to see him before his end came. So the prince said to his sweetheart, "Now, I must go away and leave you. Keep this ring to remember me by. When I'm king, I will come back and fetch you home." So he rode off, and when he got to his father's house, the king was very sick and near to death.
"Dear son," he said, "I wanted to see you once more before I died. Promise me you will marry the one I shall name."
And he named the daughter of a certain king who was to be his wife. The son was so sad that he took no thought what he was doing, but said, "Yes, dear father, I will do as you wish." And with that, the king shut his eyes and died. When the prince was proclaimed king, and the days of mourning were past, he had to fulfill his promise that he had given his father. So he sued for the hand of the king's daughter, and she consented. When his old sweetheart heard, she nearly died of grief. But her father said to her, "Dear child, why are you so sad? You shall have whatever you desire." She thought for a moment, and then said, "Dear father, I want 11 maidens, exactly like me in face and form and stature." "If it is possible," said the king, "your wish shall be fulfilled." He had search made through his kingdom until 11 maidens were found, each like his daughter in face and form and stature. When they were brought to the king's daughter, she had 12 sets of huntsmen's clothing made, all alike, and 11 maidens each put on a suit, and she put on the other one. So she said goodbye to her father and rode off with them until she came to the court of her old sweetheart that she loved so much. She asked if he were in need of huntsmen and whether he would take them all into his service together. The king looked at them without recognizing her, but because they were all such fine-looking young men, he was glad to take them, so they became the 12 royal huntsmen. Now the king had a lion, which was a wonderful animal, for it knew everything that was hidden and secret. It happened one evening to say to the king, "I suppose you think you have 12 huntsmen." "Why, yes," said the king, 12 huntsmen they are." "You are wrong," the lion went on. "They are 12 maidens." The king answered, "That can never be true. How can you prove it?" "Oh, just have some peas scattered about the floor in your anteroom," answered the lion. "You will soon see men have such a firm pace that when they walk over peas, none of the peas move. But girls go hopping and tripping and shuffling so that the peas roll about." The king was pleased with this advice, and he had the peas scattered. But one of the king's servants was kind to the huntsmen, and when he heard that they were to be put to the test, he went and told them everything, saying, "The lion wishes to show the king that you are girls." The king's daughter thanked him, and afterwards said to the maidens, "Keep yourselves in hand, and tread firmly on the peas." Next morning, when the king sent for the 12 huntsmen, they came into the anteroom where the peas were, and trod firmly on them, walking so surely and sturdily that not one of the peas rolled about or so much as moved. They went out again, and the king said to the lion, "You were lying to me. They walk like men." The lion replied, "They knew they would be put to the test, so they kept themselves in hand. But have 12 spinning wheels brought into the antechamber, and when they pass them, they will look at them with joy, as no man would. This notion pleased the king, and he had the spinning wheels put in the anteroom. But the same servant, who was friendly with the huntsmen, went to them and told them of the plot. When they were alone, the king's daughter said to her 11 maidens, "Control yourselves. Do not look at the spinning wheels." In the morning, the king sent for the 12 huntsmen, and they came through the anteroom without looking at the spinning wheels at all. Again the king said to the lion, "You lied to me. They are men, for they never even looked at the spinning wheels." The lion answered, "They knew they were being put to the test, and so they controlled themselves." But the king had lost faith in the lion. The 12 huntsmen attended the king regularly when they went hunting, and the longer they stayed, the better he liked them. Now it came about that one day when they were hunting, news was brought that the king's betrothed was approaching. When the rightful betrothed heard that, she was so grieved that her heart almost ceased to beat, and she fell to the ground in a faint. The king thought his favourite huntsman had had an accident, so he ran to the spot to help him and pulled off his glove. Then he saw the ring, which he had given his first sweetheart, and when he looked at her face, he recognised her. His heart was so touched that he kissed her, and when she opened her eyes, he said, "You are mine, and I am yours, and no one in the world can alter that." But he sent a message to his second sweetheart, asking her to go back to her own country, because he had a wife already, and he who finds the old key does not need a new one. So the wedding feast was held, and the lion was taken back into favour, for he had spoken truth after all. The 12 Huntsmen from Grimm's Fairy Tales. So many princesses. Some getting the princes they want to marry, some agreeing to princes, some being sent home and not getting any prince at all. Does a spinning wheel turn your head?